Audit Presentation. I don't think you'll fall asleep with this. We'll get through pretty quickly. I want to thank the local businesses that came out. I did invite the EBPA members, and thank you, Wayne Slaughter, for pushing the email out. Appreciate all the businesses that came out. And your input is crucial. It's critical, and we welcome any comments that you have. So as Kathy said, staff highly recommends a new sign code due to modern technological advances and changes required by recent state and federal Supreme Court cases. The proposed amendment seeks to meet the needs of businesses and other organizations while protecting and enhancing the visual quality and traditional design concepts in Emmitsburg. As Kathy said, we're going to break it down into 3 sessions. So I do ask comments and questions be tailored specifically to the sections that I'm presenting tonight. I think it'd make it go a lot faster and smoother. I'd appreciate that. So,
well, we do have some public comment for tonight.
yes.
I waited all this time, so.
Yep. What I'm saying is I hope that they can keep it to the sections that I'm speaking about tonight, and then we'll answer it as it comes along. So you might be asking yourself, why are we doing this? So one of the most recent Supreme Court cases was Reed versus the town of Gilbert. This was in 2016. This is the only Supreme Court case I'm going to touch on because it's the most important. In this case, the Supreme Court considered the issue of how freedom of speech impacts municipal regulations of signs. The court found that we must be content neutral. Content-based signs. If your code enforcement officer has to read the sign in order to determine whether a regulation applies, the ordinance provision will likely be subject to a challenge. We could possibly fail this test based on our current sign code. For example, we regulate civic and nonprofit different than other organizations. 2, directional safety. The public body may be able to regulate directional signs or other safety signs differently as long as they can articulate valid reasons. So in this new ordinance that I wrote, we seek to do this in section 173820, which is the purpose and intent. And also throughout the ordinance, we try to make it very thorough and clear why we are doing what we're doing. So 3, and last, overregulation. Many zoning ordinances and sign ordinances define a number of different types of signs, but then have no substantive regulations of those particular signs. Streamlining those provisions to remove unnecessary definitions or types of signs you are unlikely to encounter a good idea. We believe that we streamline the sign provisions. Okay, so to the actual presentation here. So please note, in no way does the town or its employees endorse any business or message depicted in the sign examples shown in this or any presentation. So staff suggests repealing Title 15, Building and Construction, Chapter 15.16 Sign Code, and replacing it with Title 17, Zoning, Chapter 17.38, which is the sign code. This will allow the Planning Commission to review and comment on the proposed amendment, and it will also allow businesses and residents the opportunity to apply for zoning variances if their property has unique hardship not recognized in the sign code. In addition, having the sign code in the zoning ordinance is a common practice in local governments around the country. We can go into great detail if you would like in these particular sections. Section 1738.10 is the applicability statement. Would you like me to read that? It's pretty short. It's up to you guys.
It's fine. Whatever. I don't care.
They're short, so I can just read it quick. Any sign erected, altered, or maintained after the effective date of this ordinance shall conform to the following regulations, which is the entire ordinance.
Does that, okay, I'll ask a question.
Sure.
So if we pass this after all of our discussions and it's passed, that would mean any existing residence or business would be grandfathered in.
If they are legal signs. So they would
According
have
to current law.
to current law.
Code.
They would have to get a permit signed by the zoning administrator.
Okay.
Okay. So the next section is 1738.20, purpose and intent. Signs perform an important function in identifying and promoting properties, businesses, services, residences, events, and other matters of interest to the public. The intent of this ordinance is to regulate all signs within the town to ensure that they are appropriate for their respective uses in keeping with the appearance of the affected property and surrounding environment and protective of the public health, safety, and general welfare by A, setting standards and providing uniform, scientifically based controls that permit reasonable use of signs and preserve the character of the town. B, prohibiting the erection of signs in such numbers, sizes, designs, illumination, and locations as may create a hazard to pedestrians and motorists. C, avoiding excessive conflicts from large or multiple signs so that permitted signs provide adequate identification and direction while minimizing clutter, unsightliness, and confusion. D, establishing a process for the review and approval of sign permit applications. And E, ensuring sign design builds on traditional town image and visual environment the town seeks to promote. The next section is definitions. I won't read every single one. The pictures of every sign defined here will be shown throughout the presentation in the next 3 months. So every single sign will be shown. Okay. Prohibited signs in all zoning districts. This is section 1738-040. And I'd like to state that Kathy and the mayor and I, we have no problems making any kind of changes. Please feel free to interrupt me and let me know if something does not, if you do not want it to be prohibited or you want to change numbers. Please Commissioner Buckman.
Make it clear what is mandated by the state and what was something you guys thought would be beneficial. Because, when we're looking at this, we might like to know which one's required by law. Do you understand?
Yeah, but
Yeah, I
Can you
understand what you're
differentiate?
saying.
are the municipalities subject to their own rules?
Okay, most of this, not most, but some of this code is just moved over. It's not all brand new. It's already what was in our code. And some of it is just common practice amongst all the municipalities. There are certain law requirements that are in his presentation that Zach will go over, and we'll do our best to tell you which one is legal and which ones are not. Just as a side note, John Clapp did review this entire ordinance for its legality.
Oh my God. Okay. So then, this is also opportunity if we see something that's in there from existing that we are not content with, that probably could
Absolutely.
be changed, we can do that as well.
Absolutely.
Okay.
We're not concrete on any particular portions of this. This is something we're recommending based on standard guidelines
Okay.
in other municipalities.
Thank you.
It's just a recommendation.
Okay. So for prohibited signs, like I said, please interrupt me if it doesn't make sense or you don't want this to be prohibited. Abandoned signs. Abandoned sign is one which has not identified or advertised a current business, service, owner, product, or activity for a period of at least 180 days. In the case of an off-premise sign, or at least 360 days in the case of an on-premise sign. At later presentations, I'll discuss what's an off-premise sign and on-premise sign. Snipe signs. A snipe sign is tacked, nailed, posted, pasted, glued, or otherwise attached to trees, poles, stakes, fences, public benches, street lights, or other objects are placed on the public property or a public right-of-way or on private property without the permission of the property owner. Signs shall only be attached to utility poles in conformance with state and utility regulations. Marquee sign. A marquee is a permanent structure other than a roof or canopy attached to, supported by, and projecting from a building and providing protection from the elements. A marquee sign is attached to a marquee for identifying a use or a product. Vehicular signs. This regulation does not include the use of business logos, identification, or advertising on vehicles primarily and actively used for business's purpose and for personal transportation. So you can see the sign that's right below the door. That would be allowed. The sign on the back of the pickup truck would not be allowed.
Can you see? Am I blocking your view here?
Mechanical movement signs is a sign having parts that physically move rather than merely appear to move, as might be found in a digital display. This is pretty common in Las Vegas, where they have arms moving and other parts of the sign moving.
Is that prohibited or?
These are all prohibited.
Okay.
Pennant strings and streamers, I've been reading that they're a distraction to drivers and can cause accidents, so that's why I did put those in here as prohibited. Animated signs, flashing signs, or signs that scroll or flash text or graphics. Again, this is it takes people's vision off the road and can cause accidents.
But we have, most of our business have those in their windows.
They have neon lights, but they're not flashing
Correct.
typically.
Currently, they are allowed to have one per street frontage.
What's the difference then?
Two of those are not moving.
President Sweeney.
Yes. Wait till to the end of the presentation, then you come up and speak.
Are there any more
Sorry.
questions from the boards? Okay. Let's see.
It said moving, right?
Inflatable devices or balloon signs, with the exception of balloons used in temporary, non-commercial situations. So, for example, the one on the left, the big, massive gorilla type thing would not be permitted. On the right, it would be permitted, such as, balloons saying birthday party here, that's permitted. Reflective signs or signs containing mirrors. Again, this is a distraction for drivers, and it can cause light going into your eyes and blinding you. Interactive sign. This is a new type of sign, which is an electronic or animated sign that reacts to the behavior or electronic signals of a motor vehicle drivers. It's very high tech. Haven't seen any personally, but they're coming. Signs. Let's see. Yeah. Signs incorporating beacon or festoon lighting. Again, it's distraction. Neon signs.
Light bulbs.
Staff's recommending not having these.
I'm opposed to that one.
Me
Because
too.
we have a lot of businesses in town that have neon signs in their windows, even if it says open.
If the board agrees to that, we're totally okay with that.
It
That's
might
just-
be the type that you decide how many you can have, or what size you can have,
And where you can have it.
or you can have it.
I like neon signs personally.
If I guess the board really should ask themselves, are they okay with having this in a historic district? How do you want your historic district to look? It's really up to you. Would you?
I
I
think
would say in a window, but not hanging out on the street like that.
yeah.
You don't
I
it's
think every
50,
town's
60?
got something with a neon sign in it.
Can we have a historic district? I'm sorry.
President Sweeney.
Wait to the end a minute. Questions you have, then we have speakers at the end.
That one's just jumping out at me.
And
There were a couple, and there's like obvious, yeah, no question. But
And one thing I will say that town manager just brought up, and it's very accurate. Buildings that have these type of signs will not be eligible for community legacy grants. The historic district is a designated district that we must follow strict standards, but it's kind of the push and pull, so totally up to you.
The historic district designation gets us a lot of grant funding for predominantly your East and West Main Street.
There are a lot of alternatives that we're going to present but
All right,
It-
keep going.
you want me to keep going, or do you want to
Keep going.
take a vote on this?
No, we're not,
Yeah,
no,
we'll
no
talk.
voting tonight, just all discussion.
Got it.
it's just jumping around.
Roof signs. As you can see, the honeydew and the bakery. Any sign that imitates, resembles, interferes with, or obstructs official traffic lights, signs, or signals. Signs which prevent free ingress and egress from any door, window, fire escape, or that prevent free access from one part of a roof to any other part. No sign other than a safety sign shall be attached to a standpipe or fire escape.
I do have a question.
Yes,
Are all the other municipalities doing this?
many.
Many. Does
Yes.
Thurmont,
We've
does
already
Thurmont
done
do
it.
this?
Many have already done it.
Does Thurmont do this?
I'm sorry.
Does Thurmont do this?
I would have to look at their ordinance.
I was gonna say because,
They still have neon.
their banners were across their things. We couldn't put one up here
They're
because
not
the state won't
allowed.
allow.
They
Yeah, it's
didn't-
against their
I don't wanna,
ordinance, but-
yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
we'll
not
Do it
gonna
anyways.
Yep.
discuss- I'm not gonna
Okay.
discuss what they did. They did not get the proper permission.
Yeah, I understand that. I was gonna say they still do it. I didn't know.
And we'll discuss that, not Thurmont, but we'll discuss.
Emmitsburg, yeah, I was just wondering if all the municipalities have to go by the same rules, so.
Okay. Okay, you were talking about the next one. Any banner or sign of any type suspended across a public street without the permission of the owner and the property of the road. That's important. I'll kind of sum it up right now. So for an example, if you want to put a banner over top of Main Street, that's a state road.
Right.
You have to get state approval.
Yeah, I done.
Has nothing to do with the town?
Has nothing to
been
do with
through
the
that, right,
town
Yeah, I mean, you had to get permission from the property owners too.
and the property
And
owners.
then on the state turned us, we got permission from the state, but the property owners, but the state turned us down.
Yes.
No,
The state owns the air right.
Yeah, the state owns the right of way.
I hate to back up, but
Yes.
earlier on, like we have signs put out for like Heritage Day, National Firefighters Event, which it looks like a prohibited sign now against things that are on posts and.
If it's on a telephone pole, yes, it is prohibited. If it's just on, say, you ask permission to put it on our property here at the town, it would be allowed. But you would have to go through the proper procedures of
Yeah.
applying for a permit. But in that circumstance, that's a temporary sign, and it doesn't require. You don't need to pay for it.
But there's a whole section on temporary
Yes.
signs, and that's what those would be considered.
Okay.
Okay. Any sign that exhibits statements, words, or pictures of obscene or pornographic subjects as determined by the town, and any sign that promotes illegal activity. Section 173850, signs exempt from permit requirements. So these are allowed in all zoning districts without obtaining a permit. Official traffic signs, government regulatory signs, holiday and seasonal decorations, personal expression signs of any type, including flags, provided that they do not exceed 3 square feet in area per side, are non-commercial in nature, and are not illuminated. Address signs, up to 2 signs stating address, number, and/or number of occupants on the premises that do not include any commercial advertising or other identification. Residential districts, signs not to exceed 3 square feet in area. In non-residential districts, signs not to exceed 5 square feet in area. Private drive signs, 1 sign per driveway entrance not to exceed 2 square feet in area. Security and warning signs, these limitations shall not apply to the posting of conventional no trespassing signs in accordance with state law. For residential districts, signs not to exceed 2 square feet in area. In non-residential districts, maximum of 1 large sign per property, not to exceed 5 square feet in area. All other posted security and warning signs may not exceed 2 square feet. Flags. For location, flags and flagpoles shall not be located within any right-of-way. Height, flags shall have a maximum height of 30 feet. Number, no more than 2 flags per lot in residential districts, no more than 3 flags per lot in all other districts.
Okay.
Flags containing commercial messages may be used as permitted, freestanding or projecting signs, and if so used, the area of the flag shall be included in and limited by the computation of allowable area for signs on the property.
Can we agree to ban the Steelers flag? Is that something the board is
Yeah.
trying here?
Also, one more thing, flags up to 3 square feet in area containing non-commercial messages are considered personal expression signs and are regulated in accordance with another section we'll be talking about at a later.
So a business couldn't have a flag advertising their business.
They would have to get a permit for that because it's a commercial message.
Okay.
Vending machine signs, memorial signs, public monument, or historical identification signs erected by the town, including plaque signs up to 5 square feet in area. Incidental signs, including incidental window signs, are signs that display site information, instructions, directives, or restrictions that are primarily oriented to pedestrians and motor vehicle operators who have entered a property from a public street. These signs shall not contain any commercial messaging. Directional signs, provided that they do not contain any commercial messaging. Area, no single directional sign shall exceed 4 square feet in area. Height, directional signs shall have a maximum height of 5 feet. Illumination, directional signs shall be non-illuminated. Art and murals. Signs inside a building or other enclosed facility which are not meant to be viewed from the outside and are located greater than 3 feet from a window. Signs or emblems of a religious, civil, historical, or educational organization that do not exceed 5 square feet in area. Legal notices. Signs which are permanent architecture features of a building or structure existing at the time of adoption of this ordinance. Yeah. Signs advertising the variety of crop growing in a field. Such signs shall be removed after the growing season. And temporary signs in accordance with a section we'll discuss at a later date. And we kind of wanted to ease into this, so that was the easiest part of the presentation. We're really going to dig deep into the details in the next 2 meetings.
Okay.
Is there any questions?
So that concludes part one?
That concludes part 1.
Okay, thank you.
Then we're not doing definitions or anything till next time?
Well, definitions was in the first part. We can go over those if you'd like. I skipped them because there's probably about 50 definitions.
Alrighty. Any other questions for Zach? We have 3 public comments that need to come up.
Just one question,
Yes.
Mr. Golden. I don't believe it was in this section mentioned as legal or illegal, but I'm wondering, is there something related to monument signs akin to, for example, on Route 15, there's a Burger King sign that's 10 stories tall.
Yes,
Do we have any language related to that in this?
absolutely.
Okay,
Yep.
terrific.
That's a big section.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
I don't remember seeing it.
Anybody else? For right now?
I'm okay right now.
Okay, we have public comment. We have 3 people signed up to speak. The first one to speak is Brandy Malocha? Maloka?
Good evening. Thanks for letting me speak, Mr. Mayor and Commissioners.
Can you give me your name and your address?
Sure. Brandy Maloka at 8 Ramadale Drive in Silo Hill. My husband Don and I own Emmitsburg Tattoo. And originally, we were just coming up to ask about a temporary sign, but we also do have some questions about the presentation. So can I do that after? Is
Yeah.
that okay? We came tonight. We are requesting immediate temporary relief from the current town sign ordinance. We'll be asking immediate permission to temporarily hang one of our previously hung signs back in our window box. A little backstory. In May of 2017, after many conversations with commissioners, the town office, round and round, meetings at the shop, we were advised by the town official that we could, in fact, hang our 2 temporary, they're not permanent, temporary signs in our oversized window boxes, because the window boxes are usable space, square footage that we pay for. It's not just a regular window like most people have. You can actually do things. So, we went around. We were finally granted permission. We didn't need a sign permit, is what we were told. 20 months later, we were instructed to remove the 2 signs that we were in violation. We immediately complied, took the signs down. It is not our intention to be, breaking laws or, upsetting the town. We immediately complied. However, our busiest months for our business are beginning right now in February. And it is our hope that we can hang just one of those signs back, temporarily, not both, just one, just until all the sign ordinance gets figured out and approved. Again, we were given permission in 2017, and those 2 signs have been up ever since, back from the window, temporarily hung. So we're asking just for one of them back, at least, till this gets figured out. Again, it's our busiest season, and a sizable portion of our livelihood is walk-in clients, and those signs can be seen, at least the one in all directions. And it's viable for us to, to stay in business. So due to the current, confusion of the sign ordinance, what we were told, and I guess it was incorrect information we were given, but again, that's what we were at that point allowed to do. We're asking for temporarily to be able to immediately put up one sign, for temporary signs. So we thank you for that. On a quick note, Emmitsburg Tattoo Company would definitely sponsor a frisbee golf team if it goes through.
Okay,
We're game for that.
Got it.
We're
okay,
game.
good, all right.
So we have some questions, obviously, about the presentation. The neon signs, our neon sign that's lit, this is tattoo. We actually paid the permit fee for, and we were granted. So if this goes through, are we grandfathered in? So, I mean, right?
Yeah, that's what they said.
We have the paperwork and we paid for it.
The neon sign, President Sweeney, was never permitted. I have the paperwork of the approval. The only thing that was approved were the window signs. The temporary signage, if I can just kind of backtrack there.
No, wait a minute.
Excuse me.
Wait a minute. Let him finish, and then we'll go through.
The temporary signage, which the resident has directed, said 20 months. A temporary sign through the current ordinance is only allowed for 30 days, and it was never permitted. The resident may come in and seek a permit. I'll look at the total square footage of what you have existing and what you're proposing, and then I'll make a determination based off of what's being proposed.
Who proposed the permit before?
The
I'm confused. Do you have a copy? Let me interject. Do you have a copy?
We-
You don't-
We have the permit
For the neon sign?
for the neon tattoo sign, and
I'd like to see it.
It was like 12 by 24, I believe.
yeah, we had to bring in measurements and show the.
I special ordered the neon sign.
Is that under, that was under Sue?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, if you'll either.
Absolutely.
Email it to me, please.
Yes, yep, we can get that done. And
that might be missing from my documentation. So
So if that is the case, if we present documentation that we paid for the permit sign for our neon tattoo sign, it's in compliance at this point. If this new stuff comes into play, are we gonna be allowed to keep that? Since it's already been, that's,
Would be grandfathered
it would be
in.
grandfathered. Yeah.
and,
Only one per street frontage, however.
right, and that's what we have. The open sign, again, we have, an email saying the open sign does not count it, because it's just an open sign.
Only for
If-
one, wait, hold still. Only for one street at a time, is that what it's
Yes.
for?
Yes,
What if you have multiple streets?
Then it's,
Then it's two.
Okay.
And we-
Because they do corner both.
Correct.
North and.
right.
But if,
The information that we have and that we can provide is that we have a permit for the tattoo sign on Seton Ave, and we have a permit for the tattoo sign on Main Street. And then the email we received says that the open sign, it's an open sign, and it does not take away from our square, or our percentage, and we're allowed to have an open sign.
We have
that was
the documentation.
We can do that this evening.
We definitely don't want to hurt our town businesses in town. I don't have a problem with the temporary sign being put up one way. I don't know if we have to vote on that to the sign orders gets done. My recommendation is I don't have a problem with it. I don't know if the other commissioners do or not.
President Sweeney,
Yeah,
if I may.
I'm trying to collect my thoughts here.
Okay. Okay.
Just give me a minute. I see the definition for window sign here in your thing. Is this the definition that's in the thing now? The window sign?
Where you at?
Where,
What if it's a window
which
display?
sign?
You know, it's a business, what if it's the sign, their sign is a window display?
Which page are you looking at?
Yeah.
Page 35 of 84. That's got the
Well,
window
That's
sign
the
on it.
proposed.
That's the proposed
Yeah,
one.
so that's not the,
Right, I
what we
mean,
have.
I'm asking, you said a lot of these are already on our books already. So we don't have a window display sign in our book already?
I don't know.
We do.
We do.
Yeah, we do.
Is it the same one?
No, it's different. It's actually more liberal. It's actually better for the businesses. What we're proposing.
Can you read it for us, please?
The current one?
The current one that we are going through now?
One in the
Wait a minute.
book.
You can come up.
The one in the book or the one we're proposing?
The one in the one, this is not the proposed one, because it's not in effect yet. The one that's in effect now.
Okay, so basically they're in the village zone, which is, if you're following along your book, page 102. All signs will be no larger than 36 inches by 24 inches and will not protrude from the building further than 38 inches. However, if you go over to the next page, they are a business, so they have its, let's see, they have a 50 cumulative sign area allotment. However, the temporary signs need to get a permit still.
So in order for them to put their temporary tattoo, a wooden sign up that they had before, they just need a permit for 30 days or for,
If you only want it temporary, we can do that. But if you want it permanent, that's fine
No,
too.
We want to request it while this is being hammered out. That was why we
Right.
came tonight.
Right.
To ask for permission to put it back
Is
up
it,
While we're hammering
while,
out.
while this is
It's-
all being worked out.
it's,
let me finish.
okay.
Right now, though, they can apply for a permit, they can go up without breaking any laws.
Depending on if it's the same exact square footage of what the signs had before, I would have to add it up. It cannot go over 50 square feet.
Okay.
And I don't think it will.
No, it's only 4 foot
Yeah.
by,
Well, it's just it's actually, I think, the smaller of the two.
It's the horizontal sign.
it's the horizontal signs.
It's
I've
On
seen
the
them
larger
before.
window box. Donald Son, co-owner of Emmitsburg Tattoo Company, 8 Robindale Court. I had a question. Well, I had more than one, but we'll keep it short. I would encourage the commissioners to seriously scrutinize this new proposal. In a quick, Zach, I'd like to ask you a question, if I could. Sorry, I'm not being in the mic. Sorry, hon. Let me just jump in while I had it. On
Is that the
page
proposed one?
49 of 59, we haven't addressed that yet, but it looks like we're already decreased from 35% to 25% in the village zone district.
What page again?
Is that the business
49
or
to
resident?
59. Again, we just got this tonight. We're skimming through it while everyone else is, so I'll shut up. You finish up.
I'm going to respectfully ask the board if we can hold off till next meeting. Because that's when we're going to discuss all of that.
All the definitions.
All of what he's mentioned.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's fine.
But they're requesting to be able to put their one temporary sign back up. Do they need a permit for that?
Yes, they need to come to the town office whenever and apply for a permit. I just need to know. Need to see a picture of it. I know what it looks like, but we need it for the records.
Okay.
I need to know the length times width, which gives me the square footage. I'll add that to what you have existingly approved. And then if it goes over the 50, it's not permitted, but I'm assuming it'll go under the 50.
Okay, and that the open sign is not included in that,
The open sign.
Neon sign, no. The neon sign is,
the open sign.
The open sign, you're only allowed to have one neon sign per side. So right now you have 2 in the front. One really isn't legal.
We'll supply you with the email we got that says that.
If Sue told you that, she told you mistakenly.
And I understand that, but that's again why we're here.
wait a minute, I have one thing. You have a side window too, correct? Can you put one, does it have an open sign in the side window?
It's an LED sign, not a neon sign.
It's not even neon.
Yes.
None of them are neon.
There is, however, I can cite the exact language.
I mean, we can hammer it out. The Seton Avenue sign is LED, not neon.
Okay.
The
Okay.
avenue is.
But again, I'm coming to talk to the commissioners of the town about this temporary sign. If we get this and go down tomorrow and we're denied, again, we are still in the same predicament. We are losing money. And it's just a sign that says tattoo. And it's not bright, it's not obnoxious. We need people to know that we're there. So I'm asking you guys to please just consider it. It's been there for 20 months.
May I ask a
It's been there for,
Mr.
we will comply, but just help us out during our busy season, which is right now. And now we have more employees that depend on these walk-ins.
Business is doing well and growing. We want to continue to do so.
Go ahead, Commissioner Witt.
Unless I misunderstood, it sounds like there was a bit of misunderstanding in the past where Mr. Golden's predecessor allowed a
Right.
certain sign. However, there was no permit
Right.
obtained, and then lo and behold, you're in violation, it needs to be removed. Obviously, this is going to take longer than 30 days to approve, going through this new sign ordinance. I know that was your request. Personally, if we're just going to leave it up for that course of time while you're, the height of your busy season, I don't see why we just can't forego the permit now. It was already up before without a permit. Let's just do it now this way. Get this thing passed, and then
We
we'll have
don't mind
everything
paying the
laid out.
permit fee.
So
We will absolutely.
That's my take on it.
It's,
But we need a motion on that effect.
Well, then I'll make a motion to
one-
allow.
Excuse me, that's actually against the law, unfortunately.
It's in violation of the ordinance, but again, to everyone in this room, there are a lot of violations of ordinances. There are a lot of things that get overlooked. We understand it's only human. You can't police everything. But there was a mistake in the past, and if they were permitted to put that sign up with no question, and then all of a sudden, you have to put this up now. That was the town's mistake.
But it's not
Not-
unreasonable to
not-
request a permit.
No.
no, and
Because
we will.
if we allow them to go ahead and do this and put this sign up, then every business or every homeowner can go ahead and put these signs up without a permit. It's not unreasonable to ask, they're willing to do a permit.
Well,
You know,
yes,
we're-
and that would be a. I understand.
But it can't
I
be
won't
case.
fight the non-permit issue. It's just I honestly feel that these individuals did not do anything facetious, and I think if somebody did put a sign up, that's a different story.
No, I don't think and if it's come across that we think they've done anything facetious or trying to be, I don't know, difficult, that's certainly not our impression. And, we can't control what prior staff had done and this actually started it actually started with Mr. Muir giving them the wrong information initially, and then Ms. Sipperly tried to fix it, unfortunately didn't fix it, and it's brought us to this.
Oh.
So if
Okay,
she
now
comes in.
now it makes sense.
You know,
Okay.
if you want to come in with a, permit,
And we will. We will do
just
it.
makes things clean.
And we will
Yes,
absolutely do it.
However,
Wait, hold
it
it
might
up
be
there.
more than 30 days. Is that
Can we
okay?
have the permit last until the,
That's what I was trying to
Passed.
explain earlier. If you want to come the permanent route, if it's under 50, we can do that.
Can he do it tomorrow?
And that's legal.
Tomorrow? Can it be done tomorrow?
If he comes in and applies for a permit, we have 5 days to approve it or deny it. I can't promise you that I'm going to have time tomorrow. I do have a big.
Yeah, that's
Can I ask
gonna
who
hurt.
we encompasses?
I'm the zoning administrator.
So you make the decision, yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I need to know. Okay, you done, Sweetie?
Yeah, thank you very much.
They're, like Kathy said, Emmitsburg Tattoo is a model business. They're great. We love them. It's just we have to follow the rules.
I think we are the destination business that this town always says it wants. I have people that travel an hour because we won Best of County Tattoo Shop. Thank you, Commissioner Ritz, for acknowledging it.
It's in the paper.
We're 5-star rated. We're the bee's knees right now. So it's 2019. I don't, this is not some ridiculous 1970s biker tattoo shop.
of course,
So that being said, I had a question on for Zach. Can we be provided with, we meaning the commissioners and everybody else, a document that shows, like your correspondence with my wife, how you answered in red, right? That was very effective. I want to see a document that goes along with this that says, this is new, this is new, this is new, this is not. Because let's be honest, this is pretty lawyer speak, man.
It is.
Like,
Well, it has to be.
no,
It has to be.
understandably so, but I'm not a lawyer.
Well, yeah, I mean, normally when we do these ordinances, we do strike throughs and bold. What we've done with this one is you've moved it out of the building code and generated a brand new ordinance.
Okay.
And that's why it's done this way.
Understood.
There's, the current ordinance is online. I don't know if you have access to it
do.
online. If you go to the specific section, you can see it and match them up.
It's hard to do that.
If you want us to generate, if the board wants us to generate one that shows the differences, it's
I-
not something that's gonna be done overnight because we do have
Understood.
some other pressing issues. But if you wanted to look at it tomorrow,
We've
Certainly.
already looked at it pretty hard.
Right.
I think the board would benefit from their understanding. They're the ones that got to comb through all this and approve it and
Right.
disapprove it. Might benefit from such a document. Was my thinking.
I agree. It
You know,
would be
again,
helpful.
just to throw ourselves on the mercy here, you know, we just I hate to use the word endured, but the sidewalk project was tough on our business. It was tough on everybody's businesses in the square. It was very difficult. We're very happy with how it turned out. It looks fantastic. We're very happy it's done. But this is, you know, kick him in when he's down kind of thing, in our opinion. So we're feeling a little hurt about all this. Comparison of numbers, historic.
Will the temporary permit take 5 days also possibly to process?
We're
or is
okay
it-
with following the permit process. We'll come see you this week and get it and apply for it. We'd love it to walk out of here with it, but we're not unreasonable.
Could I throw something else out? One more thing.
Sure is.
And first off, Mr. Golden, I mean, thank you for what you do. I mean, you do a great job. I'm not picking on you. So, and I certainly don't want to break the law. That's what I'm not endorsing. How about this? Here's a compromise. Would it be permissible for Emmitsburg Tattoo to put the sign up tomorrow
Take it down.
with the good faith intent that they're getting the process together to fill out the permit, that you get to the paperwork as soon as you can?
He has to get the permit. It's in the law. It's the code.
if he brings the permit down first thing tomorrow morning, I don't see, as long as everything is in order, the measurements, the picture, everything that's required for the permit, I don't see reason why it can't be turned around in either a day or 24 hours, as long as there are no unforeseen circumstances that happen in the
I mean,
town.
I realize you're all busy too, and you have priorities you have to
absolutely.
deal with on a daily basis. but-
Can I thank you, Commissioner. Would a Google Earth photograph of the sign we're proposing work?
Absolutely.
Okay, well, it's 2 West Main Street on Google. Just blow it up, it signs in the window on the Google Earth photo.
Okay.
It's already there.
Well, if you can make a picture of it for our records.
Okay.
Yep.
I
We can
do
do
have a
that.
question, like the sandwich signs and stuff that put outside on the street, they're temporary signs?
The A-frame
Yeah.
sandwich boards, that's in another discussion.
That's
I mean, they're
deeper
out
in the
there now
proposal.
too, I've seen them, I mean, the restaurants and stuff have them out. Stabbers has them out,
They're permitted in
They're permitted.
in the new sign. Yes.
so if they can put a tattoo sign out with A-frame and stick it right on the sidewalk, that's permitted.
There's certain, like, time, like, you can
Yeah.
only have it out for, it's deeper in there, I don't
Yeah.
remember what it is. There's certain conditions, there's certain permissible, there's just conditions that have to be met, like, you can't leave them out overnight.
Right, I
You have
understand
to
that.
still
It's a
allow
temporary
for
sign.
pedestrian,
ADA.
ADA requirements. Yep.
things like that.
See,
So, but
see,
they are
that-
permissible.
Yeah, and that don't make no sense to me, that sign that goes in the window's not gonna hurt nobody but the one on the street. I don't understand that, but that's me.
Mr. Sweeney?
Yes.
May I ask a question?
Commissioner O'Donnell,
Okay to ask a question?
yes.
In a perfect world scenario, what type of signage would you want to see for your shop? Like,
The one we had
If you
before
could
we
dictate-
were asked to take them down. That's it.
okay, all right.
That's all we're asking for.
And it would be facing Main Street and a separate one facing?
No, there'd
North
be
Street, or
one
just
in the window box, both on Main Street. One's a vertical, just says tattoo, black background, white letters. Same thing for horizontal in the larger window.
Okay, internally illuminated, externally?
No, just wooden signs with the word tattoo on it. There's no,
Okay.
you know.
Sandwich boards in the future, would that be something that would
I
appeal to you?
I own
The
a
A-frame,
relatively sandwich board, so to speak.
Okay.
It's stilted, so.
Do they have to have a permit for that?
Yes.
In time, yeah, if we approve of them, I would think, yeah.
Okay, yeah, we would just really like to go back to what we had before we were asked to remove them. We'd be perfectly happy with
Make sure you're
that.
here 8:30 tomorrow morning.
I'd like
So
to
you get it
leave with
done.
the permit form if that's possible, but we're gonna work on it. I think that was
Are
all I
they able to
had.
get the form online?
Yes. We can even give it to them
Permit
before
online.
he
You
leaves.
can get online.
Oh, okay, great. We'll do that.
They can fill it out online too, correct?
No.
No.
Oh, no, you can't fill it out online?
And just a little heads up, that's gonna be changing to online forms for ADA requirements, so Get it while you can online.
All right, get it tonight.
Oh, really? It's
Yes.
gonna be printed only? Okay.
All right, thank you all
Notes
very
all,
much.
thank you guys,
Thank you.
very much appreciate it.
Thank you.
We do have one more, Susie Glass.
Hello, Susie Glass, 239 North Seaton Avenue and the Odd House on Main Street. First of all, I was confused about what's going to happen to my existing signage. I mean, I'm grandfathered, didn't understand that, but then there was something else that he was saying I didn't quite understand.
I'm sorry.
About-
What business are you?
Got a permit?
Odd House.
Odd House?
Oh, the Odd House. Your sign has been there for
48 years.
48 years. That's grandfathered in.
All right, but then I thought you said that if we weren't compliant with the law, then there was something different. You just had just stated that.
So if I don't think there's any violations present, I haven't received any complaints. When I investigated, it was fine. If there's, for some reason, tomorrow pops up another neon sign in the window on the same side, that would not be grandfathered in. The only signs that are grandfathered in are the signs that were put up before this current sign code was put into place back in 98. So if your sign was put in 99 and you didn't get a sign permit, it's not grandfathered in. But in this case, it was put in the 70s, 80s. That's grandfathered in.
So they didn't have, I do have one more question. Was the tattoo business, was there a complaint filed for the, is that why you investigated it?
Yes, there was a complaint filed, or a verbal complaint
The brown sign hanging in the window?
about their signage in general.
Oh, okay.
So I investigated. It's not that staff's picking on anybody. It's just the code is the code is the code. So I'm very by the book.
Okay, can I ask you a question about the complaint?
No,
What
you-
was the complaint? I mean, what was the exact complaint of the sign?
That there's too many signs.
Too many signs in the windows.
Yes.
I don't know. There's a president. Is there an amount of signs they can have in the window?
It's in the code. Whatever the code
Square
states.
feet.
50
It's
square
50
feet.
square feet, yeah.
Okay, I understand. As long as it doesn't exceed over 50 square feet. All of them combined together
Correct. And the whole property.
in the whole property. Okay. Go ahead, Susie.
Okay, on the flag thing, we were allowed to put up flags before, so we will not be allowed to put up flags now?
In the proposed ordinance, it does limit flags, but the single flag is not going to be a problem.
Is there a reason why they have to be limited? I mean, it was all right before.
Yes, there is a reason. So let me go.
There's always been a size, you're talking about the size of the flag or the number of
No, I'm
flags?
just talking about, I don't hang out a flag, but the Palms hangs out a flag and
They used to. I
Strawberry
miss
thing.
it.
hangs out a flag, and I just wondered why all
So
of a sudden it was free game before. You know, we had
Palms
to
flag
worry
was
about what we
allowed.
put in the windows, but we
Yeah.
could put a flag out.
Palms, oh, sorry, go ahead.
But now,
You mean the open sign flag?
yeah,
Palm has. She means the.
that's
big,
permitted.
tall, skinny one.
Yep, that's permitted. Any
Permitted.
Palms flag is permitted, the large Stavros flag, the very large one, that was not permitted because of the size. But
Because it blocks traffic for you.
that too. The one at the Palms is permitted. The one
I'm
that,
just asking. I mean, I'm reading, like he said, it's very difficult.
it is.
I work 80 hours a week.
Or
and-
more.
And to sit down and try to figure out what this is saying to me, I don't understand. We had such turmoil the last time we put this sign ordinance together, and the business community begged and begged and begged that they please not sign it the way it was, but we lost. So now it's coming up again, and I really think that you need to reach out to your businesses by mail and explain to them what proposed changes are coming up, so they have a chance to voice their opinion.
Can we
Have a public meeting for that.
publish that through the E EBPA? or-
It has been.
Yeah.
I
Going to the EPPA is fine, I'm a member, but like I said, seeing that on their website or whatever is one thing, or being able to attend a meeting. But if I got a piece of mail stating that this is being changed, that would be a big help, or at least something, I don't know. I mean, I'm very fortunate, I live next to Joe, so, you know, I can discuss across the fence what's coming up.
A lovely neighbor, we
He-
heard, yeah, the lovely
She's
neighbor.
suggesting that the businesses,
Thank
a
you.
lot of the business doesn't know what kind of changes is coming up. If
We
they don't
have-
come to the meetings and they don't talk to anybody, that knows what's going on, then, and then all of a sudden they're cited for something that's,
So you're suggesting that we mail out what we're gonna be talking
Ordinance.
about at
Well,
the
if
next
you don't- Even if
meeting?
you don't mail it out, if it's publicized, or if it's put in the newspaper, some way of reaching out to someone that, you know what's being changed. And I also agree with the fact that putting in black and white what's exactly is being changed, so,
So it stands out.
yeah. And I would also like to, discuss the thing that all of a sudden we are a historic district, because we're not a historic district. And just because we apply for certain grants, that makes us a historic district? I don't think so.
You want to answer it?
so.
Is there a designation for the area for the community legacy grants? I know that we designated Main Street for some status. What is that status?
So it's the National Historical District. That's
Okay.
Seton and Main Street. So it is a designated district, and that's our village zone.
No, we're on a historic registry. We are not a historic
But
district.
I think this is a separate animal. I actually think they're two different designations.
Do you think, did someone do that without asking anyone else in town to change it?
No,
to
I think as a
historic
board,
registry?
we acted on that a while ago, so we could qualify for the grants. I think that was something that we'd done, like designating the village zones. I think we actually voted on that.
Well, we're a village zone on a historic registry, from what I understand, but I never knew that my house was in a historic district or my business.
That designation occurred decades ago for for the historic designation.
But no, the community legacy grant, we define the boundaries in town where the community legacy grant applicants could be drawn from.
And that's off the
Mr. Mayor,
sustainable
is that
map.
correct? Or, I mean, that's my recollection, and that's within the past few years.
We did. We tried to mirror what the historic area downtown. We don't have a historic district like Frederick County where you have a commission and they pound on
Right,
you.
right.
You
Like
can't have
that
this
standards,
tonight, can't have
correct.
vinyl houses, can't have that. But it is a historically recognized area, and as such, there are benefits to the property owners if they want that accrue to them.
And business owners.
But it also is important when you're putting a sign ordinance together, or where you're defining you're a historic district or you're in a historic registry.
Sure, sure. Well, just so you know, and I hope this makes you a little bit more comfortable, and every time we have a meeting, we have a process that we go through, and we announce how many days in advance, like 2 weeks in advance minimally, what the next agenda is going to be, and it's published, I believe, the Thursday before the meeting. So that I know you have sort of non-standard hours, given, you know, the restaurant industry. But it gives that time for preparation for everybody. I know that we put it on Channel 99, the cable. I believe we advertise it in Facebook, or on Facebook, sorry. We have the town website. I don't know that it goes into the Frederick News Post, but I do know that we try multimodal means to get the word out there. I know everybody doesn't have the internet. I don't expect that. But it's not as if we're not trying to be inclusive. And I know you feel that way based on, you know, what
No,
you're saying, but
I don't mean it that way, I just
Okay.
mean that sometimes business people don't have a lot of time to sit
Sure.
down and do all the research that you say, you know. Just today, sitting down and watching Channel 99 to figure out the agenda, took a while. you
Sure.
know, because if I get distracted and I miss it, I have to stand back there and watch it, wait for it again to
Right.
come back.
I'm
You
with
know,
you on that, yeah.
Right.
If I might add, there's an email blast that we do send to all the businesses, and we started that with the advent of the Square project, so we could get word out to businesses up and down East and West Main Street. Yeah. So that is one way that we can get the word out for the sign ordinance. We always are encouraging people to sign up for the email. We do an email newsletter. We do a newsletter in our water bill. The agenda, just to let you know, the agenda for the next meeting will be posted tomorrow on Facebook, on 99, and on the website. So there's almost a week's notice, or a month's notice of what the upcoming agenda will be.
Now, the other part is, again, hopefully making you a little bit more comfortable, is what we're looking at here is in ether right now, like the actual document of what's being proposed to us. We're not married to it, we're not committed to it, there's nothing in stone that's tying us to it. We're getting feedback, including yourself and anybody else who wants to weigh in, I mean, with the president's nod. But the premise is that it's open for discussion. And what you were dissatisfied with last time around, hopefully it will be given real consideration. So,
When the man was here from the state, remember we were here for those meetings about the town square, and then he was talking to us about our sign ordinance, and he just couldn't believe how awful it was. And he stated right in this room that it was not good for business. We're not all the same. We can't all look
sure,
the same.
sure.
And we have a small avenue of someone driving by. We're not a walking community. I wish we were. Maybe the bikes would help. Who knows?
I know we're not.
I'm trying.
We're not a walking community.
I'm trying, I promise
If
you,
you
I'm
want to give
trying.
us something, give us some parking so people can park and walk
Yeah.
downtown. There's no place to park. There's no place for people to come downtown.
Saying that
So
forever.
we have that little variance of people driving by, sitting for the red light, right in front of my business, or going by and seeing that, oh, that's all you get. So if you don't have something lit in your window or something that stands out that is different from somebody else, you're not going to catch that eye. So it's really important that you allow businesses to be able to advertise what they have or to light them up. I mean, they just said something about a flag. The flags, the little flags that you hang up the thing that, God help us if we ever get a dealership, a car dealership, because that's all you got are flags, balloons, and a guy that flops in the air when you go past the Ford garage. But it works. It works. The McDonald's, they put flags out
Yeah,
when they
do.
have the opening day thing. Why can't we have that? This is what
She's not reading it right.
I can't understand why all of a sudden, or it decides one year it's good and the next year it's bad, or that I understand if the law says we have to change something, but sometimes I think we just get too ridiculous about what we're asking.
Well, I do think we're very restrictive with our sign ordinance, and I'm glad we're talking about it. I'm going to ask if you can just list the things that are important so that we can review those. I know we don't want to look like Waynesboro
Well,
with
none
all
of us
these
do.
big crazy things. We don't. That's the idea, is that we look like a nice small town. We probably went too excessive, and we're talking about it.
Well, there's no,
So-
listen, I'm very proud of my business, and I'm very proud of our building. And the facade of my building, I feel is wonderful. But according to the sign ordinance that we have now, where I have letter down the front that says we have steaks and seafood, that's not allowed. Where I have odds in the middle, and I have the windows are etched and lit, that's not permitted. The next person that comes in can't have that. Things like that. So if I sold my business, the next person that went in there could have a sign this big or whatever outside to say that's what it is. And
Please
it's
come back to the next meeting.
Sad. Thank you.
As we've said, and I appreciate all your comments, because this is a template that we've taken from all other municipalities throughout the state. And in our opinion, this is far less restrictive as we get through it, as you'll see more of what's in this ordinance. It is far less restrictive than our current sign ordinance, and it is open for change. I think some of the flags, I don't necessarily, flags are allowed. And I think once you get in here and you start seeing what's throughout the rest of it, you're going to see that the flags, it's not as restrictive as you think that it is. And yeah, it is difficult to get through. I've read it 3 times, and it's difficult. And that's why we decided to take 3 meetings and maybe 4 to get through it, so everybody understands and everybody's on the same page and everybody's happy.
Could I make a suggestion? I know it's going to add more pages to this, but everything in this is bold, so it looks like everything's new, which it is.
It is.
But if we could put the old text in, what's changed, the strike through, that might help everyone see like, you know, this is the current, we're gonna remove this and then here's what we're adding.
I don't think it's not going to be as easy as you think because so much of it has changed. Sections have changed. The sections aren't going to match up.
Or as two separate attachments, maybe somebody can compare apples to oranges or apples to apples.
Right. I mean, you could do two different handouts, one with the current and one with the old, because I think if you tried to meld the two, it's probably going to be even more confusing because the sections have changed, the lettering's changed, numbers have changed, and I think if we do something side by side, it'll be easier for people to
Well,
understand.
I think the side by side would be great, just to have a comparison. It might help some folks.
Right.
Might help us too. I mean, we have
I think
we have our
everyone's
books.
Are there any other
But-
people here that came in late or that hasn't spoken on the sign who wants to speak? Can you come up and give your name? And because I know you came in then afterwards.
Hi, everyone. Yes, my name is Sheila Pittenger. I own the Total Look on the square in Emmitsburg, 5 East Main Street. I do want to thank you for being able to send me the emails because what I needed to tell everyone that I don't live in town, so I don't have access to any other way except for those emails. And unfortunately, I'm sure that there are other ones that probably might have that same problem. So I just kind of like want to make everyone aware of that, you know, so because that's very difficult. And the shop itself up there, it's been there over 40 years. So if I have to take my open neon sign out because I'm in the corner, I'm going to lose a lot of business.
But you should be grandfathered in.
I mean, that sign's been there for,
Well, people
40
should be
years.
allowed to have an open neon
Yeah.
sign.
Well, we haven't made that.
You only have the one, right?
I have the open sign and the nail sign, and that's it.
Are they both neon?
Yes.
Have they been up since 1998?
The nail sign has not, but the open sign has been up for quite some time, yes. And, you know, with me sitting in the corner, you don't see me anyhow. So
We're
I
trying
just
to get more businesses and we have to make it more attractive and we'll have to be more flexible. But we do need to hear what kinds of things you need. I'm not a business owner. I don't know. So we do need to hear that from you guys. So please, I encourage you to come back to the next meeting
absolutely.
and work through this with us.
Yeah. But thank you for the emails.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you.
We appreciate your feedback.
Mr. Slaughter, can you, since you're president of the EBPA, can you make sure that all the businesses, you know, want to come to the next meeting?
Certainly, and what we can do is send out anything by way of email to the members that you've already created or established. Be happy to distribute it for and put it up on our website. Make sure everybody's informed and we can encourage them to participate.
Okay, I appreciate it. Any other people want to speak on the sign ordinance before we close for this evening?
Anything more?
Nobody? Okay. We'll set the agenda for the March 4th meeting.
I have just 3 items. I know. The first one, and just a little quick prelude, is item number 1 and 2. They are, again, an MDE mandated thing that we have to do. So this is going to be, item number 1 is going to be a discussion and consideration of adoption of an amendment to Town Code Title 13, Public Services, which would create a cross-connection control program, and this is per an MDE mandate.
What is
It's similar to the backflow preventers. Apparently, we should have had this in place for many years, and we do not have a current ordinance to address this. You might want to explain it a little bit more.
Okay.
So it's going to be similar. We have to do it. It's required by law. We're going to get fined. It's going to be similar to the grease trap program.
Right.
Businesses that have specific boilers, and Dan's going to be here next month to explain the ins and outs of it. I wrote the ordinance based off of what the law or MDE provided provided me. Basically, businesses that have particular units have to get a permit every 2 years from us. They have to get inspections every 2 years. Provide the inspections to us that stated that the backflow preventer is working correctly, and we'll check you off the box. You're good for another 2 years. So businesses in town should be, the ones that have these systems should be already getting them inspected every year or every 2 years. It's the same concept as a grease trap, just for water.
So that's item number 1. Number 2 would be the discussion and consideration of adoption of the cross-connection control program fees policy. And then number 3 will be the staff presentation of the proposed sign code amendment, section 17.38.060 through 17.38.080. That's it. That's what I have.
I wanted to ask a question before I forgot to ask on the last agenda item. Is the planning commission going to go through the ordinance for the signage?
Yes. Whenever the board feels comfortable with
Then you'll take it
what's
to
being
them.
presented.
I forgot to ask that when I was
Yep.
asking
And then it
before.
goes to the planning commission for review.
Yep.
They have a 30-day window, but if the board wishes to grant them more time, because it's going to take a while to present it to them also, then it comes back to the board for a public hearing, which will be advertised in the newspaper. It be approved or denied that night.
Thank you. That's my fault. I forgot to ask when I was there.
It's okay.
Anything else for the agenda?
No.
I have 2 questions. I'll keep it quick. Do we have to
Mr. Ritz?
do we have to discuss baseball?
No.
Use of the fields at all? No?
We had just two same organizations that applied last year
They applied again?
have applied again.
The same 2?
Maryland, the Maryland, I got Maryland Municipal League stuck in my head.
Maryland United.
Thank you. And then, I think it was Thermont Baseball. It's a travel league. They take one of the fields over in Memorial Park.
Okay. And the other question is something I mentioned last week, and my understanding is that Mr. Slaughter did provide the town a proposal. He's here. I don't know if he wants to be on the agenda
The garden?
for March.
Yeah. For the planting?
Botanical.
That's correct, yeah, we were gonna add some color to it.
Okay.
When did you send that?
I provided that last fall.
Oh, the one, well, you told me, yeah, I have the one from the fall, and then we had a discussion that you were going to update it and change it, and I never got an updated one. Oh, I didn't get that one. No.
Yeah, I can send that on over to you.
Yes, Mr. Blanchard.
Thanks. I just have, are we going to possibly request Councilman Michael Blue to try to come to the next meeting?
Ms. Shaw sent him an email to ask for the
Okay.
meeting. We haven't heard back yet.
Okay, all right, just
We'll put him on the
administrative
You can
business.
Administrative
put him
business,
under
yeah.
admin business.
Yeah, just, I'd like to meet the guy.
Okay,
Actually,
yeah.
I'm in office for 4 years.
Anything else?
Can we,
Mr. Buckman?
can we, have a discussion about, possible things that we could ask Frederick, to fund, like, for example, more cameras and that sort of thing? At some point, I mean, is that something we could bring up next? Different ideas commissioners have about, funds that we can ask for from Frederick? Or is that something you want emails on?
Why don't you email,
Okay,
start off that way.
okay.
Anything else? Commissioner O'Donnell? You have anything?
No, nothing I want to add for that meeting. Hopefully, I'll have a conversation with the county pedestrian and cycling coordinator, and I'll be able to bring some information back regarding some hypotheticals.
Okay. Alrighty, so the 4 agenda items we have is, number 1 MDE. I guess it's ordinance for adopting a
It's discussion and consideration of adoption of an amendment to create a cross-connection control program.
I thought that was number 2.
That's number 1.
Okay.
Number 2 is discussion and consideration of the adoption of the cross-connection control program fees policy. They go hand in hand.
Yeah, okay. So when's the policy?
It's late.
Exciting.
And then 3 is the
Sign ordinance,
sign ordinance.
discussion.
Yes.
And number 4 is the planting for community park for back in the wet area, botanical. Okay. Everybody okay with those agenda items?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Administrative business, we have Michael Blue, maybe?
Hopefully.
Anything else for administrative? You have
No.
anything, Matty?
No.
Nothing? Okay, hopefully it's not as long of a meeting.
He opines.
It's a long meeting.
No. Okay,
All right, I need a motion to,
Mr. Sweeney, one last item you might want to.
oh, yes. Oh, I do have one. 2 items. I forgot to do this in commissioner comment. The EOPCC clinic in town, Dr. Portier's doctor's office, the new urgent care will impact her business. It will, but they will endure. They're not planning on closing. They're not planning on retiring. She wanted me to make that announcement for the TV for our people at home, that the business will not be closing in the future, and she is not retiring, and they will get along with the proposed business coming from the mount. They will have to deal with it, and they will planning on staying here for the next 20 or 30 years. So just want to let you know that. And we also have a Community Heritage Day dance and Valentine's dance coming up for the fireworks and stuff for the community day. Everybody wants to come. It's at the community.
A
It's
lot
at
of
the.
fun, and the band's wonderful.
It's a classic rock band. Includes your dinner, and bring your spouse or your girlfriend or your boyfriend, and come out and spend some money and have a good time. Thank you. Any motion to
I'll make a
Close the
motion
meeting
to
now?
close the meeting.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any nays? Motion carries. Thank you for coming.
Time.
The time is 10:47.